Let's start with something simple, your breakfast. One of the biggest changes I see in people over 60 is that they stop eating real meals in the morning. Some skip breakfast altogether, others just sip coffee or grab a piece of toast. It doesn't seem like a big deal until you realize what your muscles are losing because of it. As we get older, our bodies naturally start breaking down muscle faster than they can rebuild it, and without enough protein, the loss is quiet but constant. You may not notice it right away, but it shows up later when it's harder to carry. Groceries, open jars, or get up from a low chair. I've heard so many people blame age or arthritis, when really their muscles just aren't getting what they need to stay strong. If you've been feeling weaker lately, or a little more unsteady on your feet, don't write it off as just getting older. It could be your breakfast talking. I'll tell you a story about a man named John. He's 68, a retired trucker from Ohio who used to drive cross-country routes for decades. He came to see me a year ago because he noticed his hands shaking whenever he tried to lift a gallon of milk. He'd always been strong, not a gym guy, just a working man who could move furniture and never needed help opening bottles. But now things were slipping. I asked him to walk me through a normal day of eating. Morning, coffee, sometimes black, sometimes with creamer. Lunch, maybe a ham sandwich, often just chips if he was driving. Dinner, whatever he felt like making. If anything, John hadn't eaten a full source of protein before 5 p.m. in probably 5 years. I showed him how muscle doesn't just vanish, it starves. And without protein, your body doesn't have the tools to keep it alive. He admitted he thought protein was for guys who lift weights, not for regular men like him. But that idea was costing him his strength. Together we adjusted just his breakfast. 2 eggs, a slice of cheese, and a cup of Greek yogurt. That was it. 3 weeks in, he called me, proud. I carried all 6 bags in from the car without resting, he said, and he hadn't done that in months. What usually works well is adding about 20 grams of protein to your first meal of the day. That's not a bodybuilding shake or anything complicated. Think 2 eggs and some cheese, or a serving of cottage cheese with a few walnuts. Some people like to keep boiled eggs ready in the fridge. Others go for plain Greek yogurt, no sugar added, maybe with a little fruit or cinnamon. If you're more of a shake person, a simple protein drink can work too. The point isn't to eat like a teenager again. It's to feed your muscles what they're quietly asking for, so they can keep doing their job and you can keep doing yours. Even small strength can feel like a victory. Picking up your grandchild, taking out the trash without thinking twice, feeling steady when you walk. These are not small things. They are proof that you're still here, still capable, still needed. Protein isn't about building muscle for looks. It's about keeping the part of you that holds you up, literally. And you deserve to feel strong in your own body, no matter what age the calendar shows. Here's another thing I often tell folks in their 60s and beyond. Stop being afraid of fat. For decades, we were told fat was the enemy. Commercials, cereal, boxes, even doctors push low-fat everything as the secret to staying healthy. But here's what I see now, every week in my office. Men and women in their 60s and 70s who follow those old, healthy rules and still feel tired, foggy, moody, or weak. The truth is, your body, especially after 60, needs real fat more than ever. Healthy fats feed your brain, support your hormones, help you absorb vitamins, and keep you full so you're not constantly snacking. What you really need to watch out for isn't fat. It's all the sugar, starches, and additives that sneak into low-fat products. That low-fat yogurt, it might have more sugar than a cookie. That skim milk, it's stripped of the fats your brain thrives on. If you've been trying to eat light and feel worse instead of better, this might be why. One of my patients, Frank, really brought this to light for me. He's 72, a retired high school football coach from Illinois. For most of his life, Frank ate by the book. Dry cereal with skim milk in the morning, a turkey sandwich on whole wheat at lunch, grilled chicken breast with steamed veggies at dinner. No butter, no oil, no egg yolks, just what he thought was the cleanest fuel. He came to me because he'd been feeling low energy for months. He'd forget what he came into a room for, lose interest in food, and sometimes wake up already tired. His blood work didn't show anything alarming, but his diet told another story. I asked him when was the last time he had a whole egg, not just whites. He laughed and said, maybe 1998? I'll be honest, Frank's issue wasn't his age, it was his fear of fat. So we made one small change, added one avocado or a few eggs with yolks into his weekly meals, drizzled a little olive oil on his roasted veggies, and brought back salmon on Fridays. 2 months later, he wasn't just eating better. He told me he felt sharper, calmer, and more satisfied after meals. He even started cooking again and enjoying it. What I often recommend is to gently reintroduce healthy fats back into your day. Start with something simple, a spoonful of olive oil on your veggies or salad, a few almonds in the afternoon, or half an avocado with breakfast. If you like fish, try wild salmon or sardines once or twice a week. There's nothing fancy here, just real food. Don't be afraid of whole eggs or full-fat plain yogurt either. Fat helps you feel full and focused, and when it comes from the right sources, it supports your heart and mind, not harms them. You don't need to eat huge amounts, just enough to give your body the tools it actually knows how to use. There's something powerful about eating like an adult, like someone who's not following fads, but actually listening to what their body needs. You've lived too much life to keep living in fear of your own food. When you let go of the old myths and bring real fat back to the table, you might be surprised how much better you feel. You don't need to go on a diet. You just need to stop punishing yourself for wanting to feel satisfied. You deserve food that feeds your whole self, not just your hunger, but your strength, your clarity, and your joy. Another simple shift that makes a big difference: try cooking a real meal for yourself, even if no one else is at the table. I know that might sound like extra work for no reason, especially if you live alone. But over the years, I've seen how important this habit becomes for both your physical and emotional health. When meals turn into quick snacks or a cold leftovers eaten standing up, your body starts missing important signals, not just the feeling of fullness, but the feeling of being cared for. After 60, this kind of disconnection can add up fast. It can affect your appetite, your energy levels, and even your mood. What many people don't realize is that our bodies still crave rhythm, warmth, and attention, not just calories. Sitting down with a warm plate, even if it's simple, helps restore that connection and tells your body this moment matters. I remember a man named Walter who taught me this lesson in a quiet but powerful way. He was 76, a widower from Michigan who'd lost his wife 4 years earlier. When I first met him, he told me he ate like a teenager: frozen dinners, crackers, peanut butter, sometimes just cereal 3 times a day. Not because he didn't know how to cook, but because, as he put it, what's the point when it's just me? He'd once enjoyed cooking Sunday breakfasts with his wife, but after she passed, the kitchen felt cold. His energy had dropped, his weight had gone up, and he felt like food just didn't taste the same. One day, his granddaughter came to stay with him during her spring break. She didn't do anything fancy, just made chicken soup from scratch, roasted some vegetables, and set the table with real plates. Walter told me later that the smell of onions in the pan and the sight of a full plate in front of him reminded him he was still here, still alive. After she left, he surprised himself by trying one of her recipes, then another. He said the food started tasting better, not because the ingredients changed, but because he started caring again. What often helps is keeping it really simple. Aim to prepare just one warm meal a day where you sit down, use a real plate, and eat at the table. It doesn't have to be complicated or gourmet. A bowl of soup, some steamed vegetables with a piece of chicken or fish, or even a scrambled egg with toast and sliced tomato. The point is the ritual, not perfection. Light a candle if you like. Turn on music. Add a napkin. Treat it like you're preparing something for someone important, because you are. You're doing this for you, and that's more than enough reason. It's easy to forget your own value when no one's watching, but your body doesn't forget. It remembers how you treat it. Cooking for yourself, sitting down for your own meal, that's a quiet way of saying, I still matter. And when you start acting like you matter, everything else, from your appetite to your energy to your sense of peace, starts catching up. Even one hot meal can be a reminder that life isn't behind you. It's right here, in front of you, one warm plate at a time, something many people don't realize until it starts affecting their appetite. Flavor fades with age, but that doesn't mean meals have to become boring. Over time, our sense of taste naturally dulls, especially after 60. It's not your fault, it's just biology. Medications, dry mouth, and reduced saliva production all play a role in changing how we experience food. For a lot of folks, the first reaction is to reach for the salt shaker, which might bring back some punch, but it also raises blood pressure and makes things worse long term. Others just give up. They eat because they have to, not because they want to. And that's a problem, because when food no longer brings pleasure, it's easy to start skipping meals or reaching for empty calories that don't nourish your body or your mood. The good news is, it's often not the salt you're missing, it's the aroma. Spices and herbs are what truly wake up your taste buds and tell your brain, hey, this matters. One of my clients, Bob, brought this home for me in the most unexpected way. He's 69, a retired contractor from Arizona, and when we first talked, he told me flat out that food had just lost its appeal. Everything tastes like cardboard, he said, so I just eat whatever fills me up. For months, his lunches were canned soup and crackers, and dinners were mostly frozen meals with barely any color. His daughter, who'd moved back home to help him after a surgery, noticed he was losing weight and interest at the same time. She started making him simple meals: roasted chicken with paprika and thyme, scrambled eggs with chives, sautéed spinach with garlic and lemon. Nothing fancy, but full of scent and taste. At first, Bob was skeptical. "What's that smell?" he'd ask as she cooked. But then something changed. He started looking forward to lunch again. He began asking questions: where she got the seasoning, how much she used. Within weeks, he was digging through old cookbooks and trying out new recipes. He said something I'll never forget. "It's like I remembered I still had a tongue." The flavor didn't just bring back his appetite, it brought back a part of him that had gone quiet. What often helps is picking just one new spice or herb each week and using it in a familiar meal. It could be something simple: a dash of cinnamon in oatmeal, fresh basil on a sandwich, a sprinkle of cumin on roasted carrots, or turmeric in your scrambled eggs. Garlic, rosemary, smoked paprika, curry powder. These aren't exotic luxuries, they're simple tools that make food taste like food again. You don't need to overhaul your entire kitchen. Just start with what you already cook and bring it back to life with a little help from the spice rack. Many of these ingredients even support digestion and reduce inflammation, so it's not just taste, it's health too. I always say this: your taste buds may age, but your joy in eating doesn't have to. Flavor is part of being alive, and you deserve to feel that. Every warm bite that makes you pause and smile is a reminder that your life still has richness in it, not just in food, but in moments. You're allowed to enjoy what's on your plate. Sometimes all it takes is a little garlic to remember that. One thing that often surprises people over 60 is that dehydration doesn't always feel like thirst, and drinking more water isn't always the solution. As we get older, our body's thirst signal gets weaker, and we tend to lose fluids more quickly, especially through certain medications or simply through aging skin and kidneys. But here's the tricky part. When people hear "stay hydrated," they often go overboard and chug plain water all day long, thinking they're doing their body a favor. In reality, too much plain water, especially without minerals, can flush out essential electrolyte like sodium and potassium and leave you feeling weak, dizzy, foggy, or even confused. I've seen people mistake these symptoms for signs of stroke or memory loss when it was actually their hydration routine causing the trouble. So if you've ever felt lightheaded, unusually tired, or mentally foggy, especially in the afternoons, it might be time to look at how you're hydrating, not just how much. I worked with a gentleman named Dan, 75, from Oregon, who ended up in the ER twice in 1 year with symptoms that mimic a mini-stroke. He'd feel sudden dizziness, confusion, slurred speech, and each time the test came back clean. No stroke, no infection, no new medication reaction. Eventually, during one of our nutrition check-ins, I asked about his hydration. He proudly told me he was drinking at least 12 glasses of water a day, sometimes more. And nothing else. No coffee, no tea, no soup, just cold water from a jug. He said he wanted to keep his kidneys clean and was following what he'd heard on TV. What he didn't realize was that he was also diluting the minerals his body needed to keep blood pressure stable and the brain functioning normally. We didn't stop his water intake, we changed it. We switched a couple of his plain water servings to sparkling mineral water with natural sodium and magnesium, encouraged a cup of herbal tea in the evenings, and added a pinch of sea salt and a slice of lemon to 1 glass in the morning. Within 2 weeks, the dizzy spells stopped. He felt clearer, steadier, and more energized. Sometimes the problem isn't that you're not drinking enough, it's that the water you're drinking isn't working for you. What often helps is building a simple routine that focuses on quality hydration rather than volume. A great start is 1 glass of room temperature water with a pinch of mineral-rich salt or a slice of lemon in the morning, followed by 2-3 glasses of mineral water throughout the day, not just tap or filtered. In the evening, warm herbal teas like chamomile, ginger, or peppermint can soothe your system while also supporting hydration. If you're active or it's hot outside, sip slowly over time rather than gulping large amounts at once. And remember, foods like cucumbers, oranges, and soups also count toward your hydration in a much gentler, more balanced way. Every time you drink with intention, you're sending your body a small but powerful message that you're paying attention, that you care. It doesn't take a perfect plan, just a consistent one, and your body listens. Hydration isn't just about avoiding dehydration, it's about staying steady, clear, and ready for life. Even a few smart sips can make the difference between a sluggish day and one where you feel like yourself again. If even one of these tips spoke to you, let us know in the comments which one. We read every message, and your words might help someone else too. Subscribe so you don't miss future videos on health, energy, and the habits that can change your life after 60. Hit the bell. It's not spam, it's care. You are not alone. You're stronger than you think, and you can still eat like a man and live with appetite for each new day.